Well, I don't know if this video will get a lot of views. I think it deserves to because after dealing with my family earlier this week, I think it's necessary. Now, I put hashtags for True Force Loneliness, MGTOW, and Incel. Not because I've gone back on my word to no longer do these, but I think it's time. It's time for me, it's time for all of us to know. Now, this is a YouTube video that you're looking at. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to watch parts of it. I'll give commentary. But there's the video you can see for yourself. I'll give the link below in the description. A test to judge how good your parents were. I was going through a difficult time this week. It's not easy dealing with my family. It is so, like when you think of Rich of Review Tech USA, Richard Masushi, who went back home to live with his parents for a little while, and I think he has his own house now. He's had to go back home a couple of times. He's had, a divorce and all that. But nobody's perfect. That's what I'm trying to say, is nobody's perfect. Some people have to move back home with their parents or deal with things. I'm living under my mom's house that she owns, all right? They take care of mostly everything. That's the situation I live in right now. Now, you understand you trolls are going to get your comments deleted, correct? Do you understand that? You better understand it. Because if you have the time to put your comments, and you're better than me on my channel, you have the time to have your comments deleted, okay? So, aside from that, yes, it's a difficult situation. It's been a difficult situation for all of us. The COVID, the lockdowns, trying to get back to things. So my mom and my sister own this house. When my mom dies, she says she's left the house to my sister and me. But I'm thinking my sister has the lion's share of the house, and I have whatever. So she can make whatever demands of me that I would have to forfeit. It's just fucking bullshit, okay? And I would just be gaslit into doing everything she wants at whatever compromise. It's not my home. She says it's my home. It's not my home, okay? Because I don't completely own it. Even if she explains how, like the government wouldn't take the money or tax me heavily because of my medications and getting financial aid from the pharmacy that supplies my medication for my hemophilia. She explains all kinds of stuff, okay? But anyway, all this stuff. Talking to her, it's like talking to William Shatner. It's like talking to somebody who is a type A personality. It is difficult to get things across. It is difficult to get a word in edgewise. It is difficult because my mom had not seen me in 2 years. We hadn't talked to each other in 2 years. And all she could care about is winning the argument and having the last word. So I'm going to start. We'll watch the first minute of this video, and then I'll go to key points, okay? Well, up to minute 1.
It seems that no human being can ever really grow up sane unless it's been loved very deeply by somebody else for a number of years in its early life.
And that's true. So, my mom gave me a hug in 2019, and I was not receptive of it. The thing is that had my parents hugged me when I was a child, when my brother died, when my dad was trying to force me to eat faster because my brother died the year before, there were all kinds of bad things that happened. Now, these may be little things, but as Denzel Washington once said to Rami Malek in The Little Things, it's the little things that matter. It's the little things that add up. It's the little things that make us who we are. And I feel that's very important. We as people, like, it's easy to sit there and say, oh, don't judge your mom badly, don't judge your dad badly, if they're Christians or Catholics or whatever. But, and I'm going to say this nicely, motherfuckers, you didn't ask to be born. You didn't ask to be on this earth. We didn't ask to be here. One thing I could definitely blame my mom for is my hemophilia. That's my mom's fault. And my dad. Sorry to burst your bubble. That's not my fault. You decided to have children, 3 boys, 3 girls, like a little menagerie on your shelf, because women like pretty little things on the shelf. This is what happens. If you knew I was going to have hemophilia, which I'm almost sure I'm sure she knew, This is what happens. You're not, you can sit there and say, oh, I'm going to have the last word in this conversation, blah 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 blah, but it doesn't change anything. You can do this middle fingers all you want. It doesn't change that. And when I got bad grades in school and when I screwed up, it's like, how can you not understand? Instead of taking the belt to my ass when I got an F in third grade, maybe maybe teach me something. You know, a lot of black comedians I remember in the '90s would say, like Steve Harvey or Bernie Mac, I think they would say, the kid's not your friend. The kid is also not your enemy. He didn't choose to be here. She did not choose to be here. You decided to have children. This is about you being selfish, which that's, I mean, there's no other way to do it, right? But if you're going to put the child on the earth, make sure he's just a little spoiled, not to the point where he's too comfortable, but just enough to know he is loved or she is loved. So let's go on. Let's go on to this.
But we're still learning what good parents might actually be like. How good were yours? Here are 8 principles of good parenting that you might use.
We'll skip ahead to the
to
principles. Attunement.
A loving parent gets down to the child's level, at times literally dropping down to their height when addressing them, in order to see the world through their eyes. They understand that a very young child can't easily fit in with external.
Now, this is a problem my sisters had too, especially my oldest sister raising her kid. She would never understand. I still remember when my niece had her 4th or 5th birthday, and she wanted to stay home and play with all her new toys and her clothes and stuff. And my sister told her, we need to go and get up and get your shoes on. We're going to go and have lunch with my aunt, her great aunt, my mom's sister, our mom's sister. Okay, my sister and I, our mom's sister. Okay, and she wouldn't want to do that. She wanted to enjoy her birthday, so they had got into a verbal argument, and then she grabbed her, threw her in her bedroom, and just spanked her hard on her own birthday. Not even our father did that. My father had a horrible temper, and it's like, for some strange reason, I think my other sister would do this too. Maybe all 3 of my sisters did. It's like you distance yourself from the way that you were as a child and somehow put yourself on the God of Mount Olympus role. And that's not good. That's not good at all. Let me make this clear. Don't have children. I don't know what it's like to raise children, but children are fucking impressionable. And anytime you act a certain way, they're going to be impressed upon. So it's always important to know what might they be looking at, what might be the, if you, I guess women are, they raise cats and dogs and birds and fish. And it's a lot of ways they're trying to see what it's like to raise a child. And some women will know, based on the difficulties they have with their cats and dogs, that maybe they don't want to have kids. Or maybe they do want to have kids. Maybe they nudge you. Come on, honey, let's have kids. And so maybe in some ways that is I couldn't tell you if raising a pet is the best way to know if it's a proving ground. But if it is a good proving ground, then I feel that looking at a child from their eyes in the period that we would be in, whether we have a new space station orbiting Earth, or people are wearing colorful hair, or they have 2 heads, or there's 3 people marriages between 3 people instead of 2, or people marry their cats or dogs, or some new element in life, new political correctness or whatever. As the child grows up, from being a happy child to going through puberty and being distant, it's also important to look at those things. I mean, I can only go by some of my family members who have grown up higher and higher, and what they might be going through. It's a testament to what, if I have kids of my own, they may be going through the same things. Let's go to the next one. Now, this next one is small things.
Loving parents understand that their young offspring's lives revolve around details that are, by any adult measure, very minor. Toddlers will feel enormously happy because they can dig their nails into some putty, or have a chance to whack their spoon into some peas with energy, or say "bar" very loudly. And they will feel extremely sad because Pet Rabbit lost one of its buttons, or a page in a favourite book now has a tear in it.
I think the small things are small to us because we've overcome those things. It's like Bernie Mac once said, as you get older, you don't want candy as much. And to us, candy was everything. I mean, I walked. There's a shopping. There's a outdoor walk mall, like like a walkway, like a city walk or whatever. You walk around, you look at the shops, and there's a big candy store. Now, to me, I'm like, God, if I was a diabetic or if I was being an adult, I'm like, this is nice. But to a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, that's like the biggest thing in the world. They would, if they could have an orgasm, which I don't want to really go there, but that's everything to a child. Losing their Lego, that's everything to the child. Um, Falling down from a chair, that's everything to a child. You know, every little thing, whether they see a spot on the wall or um, a katydid. A katydid, Katydid. It looks like a little leaf, an insect, a little leaf-shaped insect, and they fly around. They look like a leaf, and seeing that leaf insect go on different leaves, it's nothing to us, but to a child, that's everything. They have such an imagination, and their minds, they can only do so much in their small sandbox. And as they get out of high school, of course, that sandbox is like 10 times as big. But every little thing we do, they're impressed by. They're negatively or positively reinforced by. But it's understanding why those little things are important. Whether I drop the pizza, whether a kid kicks sand in my face, and won't let me join the others, or I can't fit into a group, or whether I don't know how to tie my shoe. Things like this are such a big deal. It's how we get to the big things as adults. And this sounds like obvious stuff, but some parents just don't even see that anymore. They just see, oh, I got to raise a kid. I got to take the kid do this. I got to take the kid do that. I see miserable parents, and you see it. One of the most annoying things I see is when the parent says, "Okay, bye. I got to leave the store. Bye." Like, fuck off. Like, watch the kid say, "Okay, I'll call the cops," and then she'll probably beat him up for making a smart ass comment like that. This is the hardest thing that I've ever had to deal with my father in particular. My mom, it's getting into these shitty arguments. My sister, I don't want her forgiveness because I know she's doing it for my mom's sake. Whatever, but it's not genuine. But with my dad, whenever I made my dad angry because of bad grades in school or not telling him the truth about my bad grades, it was like, for him, it was like I was being defiant. I was this soldier who was not shutting up and playing good soldier. And whenever I made him feel bad, I felt suicidal. I felt suicidal this week because of my mom. But my dad hurting me the way he did, I just don't, I don't know what to think. I mean, my dad took a razor strap on me at 17 because I forged my mom's signature on one of those papers. It was for a technology class that I didn't understand anything about. But you try to tell him, I can't do this. And, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And nothing I did mattered. So forgiveness meant dick because anything I tried to do wasn't going to help. Nothing. Anyway, we'll look at a little bit of forgiveness here.
A loving parent will know how to put the best possible interpretation on behavior that might seem to others to be pretty unfortunate. The small child isn't just a troublemaker, but it has, of course, been very upset by the arrival of a sibling. It isn't antisocial.
A lot of times I would do play acting. I would use my imagination and play by myself, which seemed normal, right? But when you're on the school grounds at elementary school, the other kids don't want to get near you. And I think one of the reasons I did that was because my brother was blind and partially autistic, that there was no way to relate to him at all. And everybody put a gold crown on him for existing the way he did and shit it all over me in doing that, which was hard, which creates that jealousy. So in being jealous of my brother, which was the wrong way to put that energy, I should have been angry at my family for treating me like that. I cried on my brother's birthday, and that was not fair to him. So that was a hard thing. And it caused a lot of rivalry. A lot of rivalry between my sisters is because of my mom and my dad the way he was. They see my mom as the victim of being around my dad. My dad, they chose to get married. They chose to have children. Nobody put a gun to anybody's head. If you understand that fucking bullshit, then you wouldn't be taking anybody's side or coming to anybody's defense, especially when my mom was wrong. That's how it is. That's how it fucking is. You know, it's just, I don't know what to tell you, but it's just ridiculous. So, you know, the fact that I played by myself, not with myself, but by myself, pretending, make believe, and not playing with the other kids at recess, that was a bad thing for me, because then it hindered me to really get somewhere when I was 16, 17, 18. So it's very important to make sure that if you have children, make sure they're always interacting with each other, always interacting with the other kids. If you have distrust of having sleepovers, get to know the parents, get to know the other kids, get to know the community. You know, there are a lot of parents who do that, but some are just not going to. It's like, well, what are you going to do? What's the better solution? Lock that kid up forever? What did this kid ever really do? You know, there's got to be a better way, but nobody ever wants to find it.
This capacity for imaginative, kindly explanations will go on to mould the workings of the child's own conscience. It will learn the art of self-forgiveness. It won't have to torture itself for its mistakes. It won't suffer the ravages of self-loathing or ever, when it messes up badly, be tempted.
Yeah. See that? So this is important. This is important to understand. Because when there's never enough communication, and my teacher, who happens to be gay, so first there was like one or two people who called me a homophobe about Wonder Woman and Supergirl. It's about the alternate universe Wonder Woman, and honestly, I don't care. It's not for me. It's not. But anyway, my teacher, who happens to be homosexual, who I'm not sure if he's still teaching at Cal State University, he told us that the most important thing when it came to children and what they were exposed to, the television and radio, film, was that it was important to communicate to your child. Don't talk down to them all the time. And if they really screw up, then yeah, you can be upset. And yeah, there are times where you yell and you get upset. But also learn that it's important to communicate. There are times where your kids are going to disappoint you. They're supposed to break your hearts. They're supposed to do dumb things. That's how they learn. But to make someone feel, I mean, I was abusive to myself. I'm not slitting my wrist, but whenever I can't find things in the house and I'm always looking, I always just have fits. I throw things against the wall. I kick things, kind of like the Joker does when he can't keep his job or he can't kicking things. I'm just, it really saddens me. It saddens me so much that I do that to myself. It's like hurting yourself so much. You scream, you yell, you just want to cut yourself. And it's so heartbreaking that it's because parents never communicated to their kids enough. And this is important if you ever want to start a family. It's not about spoiling your kid or giving your kid reward for getting Fs. It's about when they do screw up, that's the point, that's the proving ground for how you are really going to interact with that person. And I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't know what to really tell you. But I just don't like some of the shit that I've seen in Target or Walmart. It's just ridiculous because that kid's going to be, this is going to happen if we don't wake up to how we raise our kids and how we were raised, especially us.
The loving parent will feel sufficiently sane to allow a child to be a bit weird for a while, knowing that so-called weird is actually part of normal development. It won't get flustered that the child has decided to pretend it's an animal or wants to eat only red-coloured foods.
And to be fair, now I'm going to be fair about this one. My parents kind of let me be the kind of weird child that I was. But also, too, like I said, even as weird as I could be or weird anybody else could be, it's also important to make sure that you don't want to be complete incel. You know, you want to make sure that you can have friends, that you can talk to people, and that would give And even if they have kids, especially, then that gives the child the chance to meet other people. I didn't have friends. I never had friends come over the house. I didn't have friends in school. I didn't have friends in kindergarten, nursery school, elementary school, junior high school, high school. I didn't have any real friends. And anybody who talked to me was and is usually fake to me. And that was a difficult time for me. So it's also, I mean, like my dad would sometimes make fun of me. I sometimes would do this on YouTube on my channel as well, just hang my hand low whenever I would just walk and find stuff. I kind of didn't like it. So I kind of like just, little stupid habits that I would have that I have to make sure. It's like it's important to eventually correct some of that stuff, but also encourage the kid to be his or herself. I mean, I guess it was not having, I guess it's not about having too many weird things about yourself that you would isolate yourself from society or friends or any kind of village group of people. I guess that's all I'm saying. This is kind of the least problematic ones, but it's part of who I am. Now, this one's a kind of an issue of clinginess. We cling on to things. I used to cling on to my mom a lot, and then my dad didn't like it, and eventually I kind of became more objective as I got older. But I think the hardest clinginess I had was with girls. And although I talk to somebody now, we'll call her Princess Peach. Princess Peach, you know who you are if you're watching this. So I sent her messages about what happened with my mom and my sister and me. And I unsent them. I deleted them because I was just too angry and yelling and upset. And I didn't want her to think I was mad at her. I wasn't mad at her, but I needed someone to talk to. And I didn't want to share this house with anyone else. I didn't want to go through my sister being a parent. My sister is not my parent. She is my sister. That is it. I don't need another parent in my life. I've had enough. And I've earned the right to have had enough. But as far as attachments go, yeah, I'm insecure. It happens to all of us. Even you trolls that have nothing better to do. Any negative comments betrays that you have that clinginess, even clinginess to say negative things. So I unsent those comments, but I want you to know, to you, the girl I've been writing to, it's okay. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to justify, am I doing the right things? By staying here in this house that's not completely mine, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this the right way? Respond to me privately, but I'm just trying to figure it all out. Anyway, we'll skip. Let's go a little bit into clinginess, and then we'll skip to the next one.
The good parent knows that children may well cling for a long time and will never dismiss this natural need for reassurance in pejorative terms. It won't tell the child to buck up and be a good little man or a nice young lady who can make me proud. It will know that those who end up securely attached and able to tolerate absence are those who were originally allowed to have as much dependence and connection as they needed. There will be few requests to be brave at the school.
Perfection.
A good parent won't set themselves up as an impossibly glad.
That's the thing about perfection. My dad would always get physically violent with me about my grades in high school and college. He got in the way of me doing theater at 20 years old because I called myself Drake Angel or whatever. I felt like he was going to fucking kill me by his temper. But it's I was 20 years old. I'm an adult. You don't have the right to control my life when I'm an adult. These are things that I want to do. You don't have the right to control that. I don't care what you say or what you threaten me with. There are rights that I have. And you don't have the right to tell me that. But I can't tell him that because he's passed on. But whenever he would tell me, he wanted me to get a nice office job. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? All these beatings and all these threats of beating me up for what, an office job? Is that what this is about? We never had a clear message of what I wanted. But I wanted to find out for myself. I didn't want my dad to gaslight me, harass me, and bully me into finding the solution. That's not what you do. Sorry, that's not what you do to your kids. You don't threaten them into either kill. He should have been lucky I didn't want to kill the man. Because there were times I just wanted him dead. I guess now he is. Now this next one deals with boringness. How a parent is just kind of secluded into its routine. I mean, boringness isn't really. I mean, that should be, second nature when raising kids, I guess. But I don't really think about this part. We'll move on. Now this is the hardest one. It's unreciprocated love. If I can press play.
The good parent isn't looking for a balanced relationship. It's happy to give unilaterally. It doesn't need to be asked how its day was or what it thinks of the government's new policy on insurance. It knows that a child should be able to take a parent substantially for granted. The parent's reward for all their work won't ever be direct. It will arrive by noting in many years' time that their child has just developed into a very good parent themselves.
And this is the thing, is that when you are good to your kids, without spoiling them, without making them feel suicidal, they'll want to come back for Christmas. They'll want to come back for Thanksgiving. They'll want to come back for Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, baby showers, going to theme parks, hopefully not Disney's Galactic Star Cruiser. They'll want to see you again. And that's important. And, it's just, we don't owe them. They have owed us, and they've owed us as best we can, and at least until we're 18. So this is common sense too. And that's mostly for this video. Let me show you some of the comments, because it's the comments that I really appreciated. I saw a meme one time. There's some of the people that responded. I saw a meme one time that said, every kid that was described as mature for their age now has anxiety and depression. I think about this often. This got 12,000 likes. Pro tip, instead of using this to figure out if you were raised well, use it to be a better parent. You can't change your past, but your children's past is still the present. Sounds like a lot of work. I'm thankful I'm single and childless. My mom kicked me out at age 17. Stepdad and I fought, was homeless for a year, working on my YouTube channel. Also, I didn't know my biological father, never met the guy or had a convo. I'm 23 now. I push people away. I smoke. I didn't have anxiety, but now I do. Not sure why I'm writing this. I was trying to relate to the video, but ... That's pretty much it. My mom was never wrong the entire time I knew her. I haven't talked to her in 15 years. I never will. This one I liked personally. That was because of my mom. I watched this because of my mom, my sister. He is not giving me a hard time. He is having a hard time is my mantra, both with my difficult students and when my 8-month-old is up all night teething or something. Also, in response to the last one, I don't expect exactly reciprocal love, but baby grabbed my face and tried to kiss my cheek for the first time this week, and I am just about to burst into happy tears. I like that one. That was all right. Parents would say, she never gave us any trouble. She's perfectly obedient. I used to think this as a compliment until I grew older and realized I was obedient out of fear and not respect. I once lost my favorite hair tie at a public pool when I was about 5. My parents did everything they could to find it, but they never did. I am forever grateful they really tried to understand my sadness. Anyone else feel sad realizing that they missed out on and had to be their own parent? There's a sad tear face. Some people don't deserve to be parents. Yep, exactly. It's a cycle. Broken people raise broken people, and until recently, outsiders looking in a world would judge damaged people as being fundamentally flawed. It still happens, but we're starting to wake up to the reality that bad behavior is really a symptom of poor development. I remember when I was younger, a lot of parents used to joke to my parents about a rebellion phase, and my parents always kind of shrugged because I never really had one. I never felt the need to rebel. I always felt from day one respected and that my opinions mattered. Yeah, I pushed boundaries, but I never felt the need to rebel because there was nothing to rebel against. Some people had good parents, some had bad. This comment section is understandably full of rather painful childhood stories and reflections. Even if you don't share your own, know that you have support, loving, understanding from all the strangers who come here to do the same. Love and happiness to all. This one, okay, here's one more. This is one I liked personally. Simpler definition, good parents are always questioning themselves if they're doing something wrong. Bad parents are always 100% sure they are doing something right or doing everything right. And that one got a lot of likes, 13,000. Let me show you a couple of other videos.
Dad would have the 6-packs of Schaefer beer on the front seat with the guy riding shotgun who also manned the can opener.
Now this one is about Tom Leykis' drunk dad. I'll put a link to the first part. This is basically how his father treated him, which is very similar to my dad being a drunk. He never drove drunk. He almost did once at my sister's graduation, and my dad hit me a lot when he was drunk. up until I was about 15. Okay? So for most of my childhood, he drank. So I got a black eye once. So I don't know what the fuck that was about, but that was unacceptable to me.
Which direction you're going? Are you going to realize all the potential you have inside you? Or are you going to do things just to shut people up?
Now this one's about your friends and family hold you back, Tom Leykis show. This is another good one to look inside yourself. Whatever you think of Tom Leykis, I even think Adam Carolla could probably concede that this particular topic is something that everybody can agree on, that if you don't look inside yourself and do what you want to do, people will hold you back, people who gaslight you and bully you. Just remember, it is okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. But remember that it's okay to be who you really are. And with that, we're going to move on. I have a Pac-Man Saturday night thing to do, and we're going to go from there. Happy holidays to the lot of you.